Making his way to the cage, Jacob Little Badger Rosales.
It's so hot out there.
And now our second part of our three-piece featherweight championship tournament bracket for this evening. First up, in the blue corner, 18-year-old Jacob Rosales from La Habra, California, fighting with Team CSW Combat Submission Wrestling. He's a catch wrestler, as you might expect from CSW, Josh Barnett's team. And he's also a talented fighter so far with 2 wins and no losses. Most recently, a submission in round 1 against Nico Carafield.
You know, coming into the cage with all that combat wrestling experience, or all the high school wrestling experience, and then training under Josh, I can't imagine he's going to do anything other than go to the ground. He's a competent Muay Thai fighter. He's really good. He's comfortable on his feet. He has natural instincts, and he won his last Muay Thai fight. But I really want to see this guy go to the ground and do some catch wrestling and show us what he's all about.
Well, he does have that pedigree, not just being a part of that CSW camp, but he was an all-area wrestler in high school, not to mention getting 3rd place in the CIF South Division.
Right. This guy is made to grapple. That is what he does. He's 18, and he's already got all this experience underneath his belt. The only place to go is up from here and his experience. Well,
that's the new breed of these young fighters, though. You're not getting 18-year-olds who are seeing this for the first time. You're getting 18-year-olds with a significant background in combat. And this has been a lifelong pursuit so far between his wrestling experience and that Muay Thai experience. Sure, he looks young. Sure, he looks nice. Don't let it fool you. This guy can punch. This guy can kick.
Right, and that's the beauty of the evolution of MMA where it is now. We're having kids that, from the age of 10, 12 years old, are training.
And his opponent, Quinto.
On the other side of this featherweight battle is 29-year-old Quinto. 11 years might separate these two, but not a lot of separation on their records. 1 win and 1 loss for Quinto. Most recently, a unanimous decision loss against Jalen Turner back in September, but before that, another win. Moved here from the Philippines, a purple belt under Eddie Bravo, and trains at one of my favorite gyms in town, 10th Planet Van Nuys, with the wonderful Alder Hampel.
Alder is a great coach, and you know, a purple belt under Eddie Bravo is nothing to shake your head at. So both of these guys could put on a really exciting grappling match. Ian trains at the Yard and with Defiant Gym, so that's where you want to train if you want to do stand-up. Both of these guys coming in with a great pedigree, but 10th Planet is MMA, jiu-jitsu for MMA, and catch wrestling that's what it's there for. I want to see these guys go to the ground. I want to see it get exciting.
Well, that's the big question. Often when you have 2 grapplers who have lots of experience, that negates each other and you end up seeing a stand-up battle. So we might be in for kind of a slugfest here, especially with that Muay Thai background of Jacob Rosales.
That could be exciting too, and you know, there's nothing wrong with standing and banging it out. But when you have the ability to go to the ground, why not?
Why not, indeed, especially with the high pedigrees coming from both of these guys. Who will move on in our featherweight tournament matchups? Will it be Jacob Rosales in the blue corner or Quinto in the red corner? To get things started, let's hear from Salvador Arellano.
Our next fight of the evening is scheduled for 3 2-minute rounds in the U of MMA featherweight tournament. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a combat submission wrestling practitioner. He steps into the cage with a record of 2 wins and no losses. 1 win coming by way of knockout, 1 by submission. He stands at 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighed in at 146 pounds, representing CSW from La Habra, California, Jacob Little Badger Rosales. And his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner, a Muay Thai practitioner. He comes to the fight with a record of 1 win and 1 loss, standing at 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighed in officially at 144.6 pounds, fighting with Defiant Gym and the Yard Muay Thai from La Ian Quinto. Man in charge of the action, Red Francisco.
Here we go, 3 2-minute rounds in the 145-pound division, part of this featherweight championship tournament. Ian Quinto in the long gray shorts. Jacob Rosales in the short black runs. It starts here. Fighters touch gloves. Rosales takes the center of the cage and starts throwing quickly. Big flurry here from Jacob Rosales. Quinto trying to counter. Jacob just pouring it on.
That was a nice way to start a fight. And now we're going to the ground.
Jacob Rosales falls into the half guard of Ian Quinto. Control of the neck.
Yeah, Ian seems to be keeping his composure. He's not worried about being in this position.
Ian's been here plenty of times before over there at 10th Planet.
And there goes Ian trying to use that lockdown, which is going to keep Jacob in his half guard, and Ian's really comfortable working from here.
That lockdown half guard, a signature of the 10th Planet style of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, and it looks like he's actually trying to go for an electric chair, which would put Jacob's leg on his shoulder, roll him over, and basically make him do the splits and tweak his hip at the same time.
Well, there goes Quinto replacing the full guard. Currently working from the closed guard here against Rosales. Rosales stacking them up.
You know, those shin guards are really going to get in the way of Ian trying to do any rubber guard, which you would expect from a 10th Planet guy.
And that's a really interesting factor. We've been talking a little bit about what the effects of those shin guards might be. We've seen people throwing more kicks than normal, but the effect on how you might play your guard game, especially as you mentioned that rubber guard.
Right. It's going to get in the way of the rubber guard. It's going to get in the way of the triangle, which you see he just transitioned out of to an arm bar, because you're not going to be able to lock your legs up the way that you want to in a triangle without shin guards.
Ian has that arm in there pretty deep, but good defense by Rosales. He's out now, throwing down heavily. And look for a pretty traditional style sweep.
Yeah.
And a big right hand coming in for Jacob Rosales.
Looks like Ian wants to stay on the ground.
Ian looking for that ankle sweep again, but Rosales just throwing stuff right through the guard of Quinto.
That was exciting and not what I was expecting to see from Jacob, but really pleased to see from Jacob. That was a great show on standing up.
You know, he looks pretty small, but he is very heavy on the top. You can see the wear over the left eye of Ian Quinto when our camera goes that direction. Definitely that right hand causing some damage.
Oh yeah, definitely looks like he has some cement in those hands of his, and there's never anything wrong with having heavy hands. I was really happy to see what they did on the ground. They both seemed to be really comfortable and really controlling where they wanted to be on the ground.
Ian Quinto having a very fascinating bottom game. You know, he was throwing those legs up high, nearly had that arm bar for a moment, and then looking for sweeps, even some traditional jiu-jitsu sweeps that you don't see in the cage.
Yeah.
Grabbing those ankles, trying to push the hips down.
Well, that is, I guess, the beauty of 10th Planet is they work off the ground so much, off their back. So I know that's something that you can always count on from a 10th Planet guy, is working well off your back.
Here we go, round number 2 in this featherweight affair. Again, Ian Quinto in the gray trunks, Jacob Rosales in the black bike shorts. Let's see what they have in store for us. And again, Rosales quick with those early punches, trying to establish the rhythm.
He is not kidding with those punches coming out of the gate.
And a big uppercut, drops Quinto. Rosales pouring it on, heavy right hands. Quinto trying to recover. Rosales, though, not stopping, and that's it. Referee stops this fight with just 20 seconds into round number 2.
That was impressive. He has some serious hands on him.
We talked about the Muay Thai of Jacob Rosales before this fight. We talked about the possibility of the ground games negating these fighters. That's exactly what we saw. Rosales taking advantage of his striking difference and really putting this away here in round number 2.
Yeah, it looked like the ground game was really a fair thing for him. So he went with his natural instincts, which he says he has in Muay Thai. He's really comfortable on his feet, and he showed it.
Blood from the face here of Ian Quinto, most likely caused by that uppercut late in round 2. It was a great technique, really caught him flush. You see it dropped him quickly.
Yeah, he had some great flurries coming out. I mean, at 18, I cannot wait to see what this kid is going to do in the future.
Well, that's the kind of thing we're seeing now. We mentioned it before this fight. Those 18-year-olds with a wide variety of skill sets who've been training for a long time. If you start here at 18, what's the limit?
Right, what is the limit? That's the exciting thing about where MMA is going is these kids coming up with all of the skills you need for MMA. We are moving out of the guys who come in with one really strong technique and guys who are well-rounded from the very beginning. And they are just so good at everything they do.
Ian Quinto showing some very sharp jiu-jitsu in that first round when he was recovering from the attack of Jacob Rosales. But as we saw in the first round, Jacob came out firing around number 2 and set the pace. He decided what the fight was going to be like, and that's how one way to decide who's going to win.
I think he had a great game plan. I think he maybe didn't want to go to the ground with somebody who was pretty well matched with him on the ground. So standing up where he knew that he may have been a little bit stronger or was definitely more comfortable was a great game plan for him.
Jacob Rosales still pretty energetic, as you might be after a fight like that one.
I think I might be a little amped up after a fight like that.
Jacob Rosales moves to 3 wins and no losses. Ian Quinto drops to 1 and 2. For the official call, let's hear from Salvador Arellano.
The punishment ends 18 seconds into the second round. Your winner by way of technical knockout, Jacob Little Badger Rosales.
Congratulations. For someone who's 18 years old, coming from a wrestling background, looks like some of the best striking we've seen all night. Really fast hands, great job. How do you feel about the fight?
I'm good. I just came here to win. That's what I did.
So was your game plan to keep the fight standing and work your ground and pound, or to stay on top?
Yeah, because I'm a wrestler and I wanted to practice my boxing, my stand-up for once. So.
Did you prepare your submission game? Because he comes from a good team, submissions.
Yeah, but my team's better at submissions, so.
Anybody you want to thank for this victory? You're 3-0 now, so let's hear it.
I'd like to thank my team CSW, Embody, All In, my coaches Ben, Ruben, my parents, everyone that came out to support me. My coaches Eric Paulson, Josh Burnett, everybody.
So this is a tournament matchup. You excited for the next fight?
Yeah, I'm excited to win.
So you're 3-0 in the U of MMA. You could have a very bright future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's hear it one more time, Jacob Rosales.
Your winner by round 2 technical knockout, moving on in the University of Mixed Martial Arts Featherweight Championship Tournament, Jacob Rosales.